The package was gone, and somehow, I was the villain. HOA Karen's shrill voice still echoed in my head, accusing me of theft like I'd personally insulted her entire bloodline. I'm Jamal, a 23-year-old delivery driver, just trying to make ends meet in this sleepy suburb. My beat-up van and I had been hauling packages for months, navigating cul-de-sacs and dodging overzealous HOAs. But nothing prepared me for the HOA sisters Karen and her equally venomous sibling, Lynn. These two weren't just Karens. They were a tag team of entitlement, waddling around in matching floral muumuus, their faces perpetually twisted into smug superiority. Karen, the ringleader, was a mountain of a woman, her voice a weapon that could curdle milk. Lynn, skinnier but no less vicious, trailed her like a hyena waiting for scraps. They ruled our neighborhood like self-appointed queens, terrorizing anyone who dared cross their pristine lawns. It started on a muggy Tuesday afternoon. I was halfway through my route, sweat soaking my shirt, when I pulled up to the HOA residence. Their McMansion loomed over the street, gaudy with fake columns and a fountain that screamed, "Trying too hard." I dropped off their package a small, nondescript box labeled "Fragile" and snapped a photo for proof of delivery. Standard procedure. I was back in my van, ready to move on, when my phone pinged. A furious text from the delivery app. Customer reports package missing. Investigate immediately. I groaned. Missing packages weren't uncommon, but this was the HOS. I'd heard stories drivers harassed, neighbors berated, even a kid's lemonade stand shut down for unpermitted commerce. I doubled back, figuring I'd knock, explain, and move on. Big mistake. Karen was waiting on her porch, arms crossed, her face a thunderstorm. Lynn hovered behind her, clutching a phone like she was filming evidence for a courtroom drama. "You stole it," Karen bellowed before I could even open my mouth. "I saw you on my Ring camera, sneaking around. Where's my package, thief?" Her voice was so loud it rattled the neighbors' wind chimes. I tried to stay calm, showing her the delivery photo, time-stamped 10 minutes ago. "Ma'am, I left it right there," I said, pointing to the spot on her porch. "Maybe someone grabbed it." "Someone?" she scoffed, her chins wobbling with indignation. "You're the only one here, boy." The way she said boy made my skin crawl, dripping with condescension. Lynn chimed in, "We know your type. Always looking for a quick buck." I bit my tongue, knowing arguing was pointless. These women didn't want answers. They wanted a punching bag. I offered to file a report with the delivery company, but Karen wasn't having it. She stormed down the steps, her flip-flops slapping the pavement like gunshots. "I'm calling the cops," she shrieked, jabbing a manicured finger in my face. "You're not leaving until I get my package." Lynn was already on the phone, exaggerating to the dispatcher about a dangerous criminal on her property. I stood there, heart pounding, knowing how this could look a young black guy, a middle-aged white woman screaming about theft. The optics were bad, and the HOS knew it. The police arrived faster than I expected. 2 officers, a grizzled veteran named Officer Daniels, and a younger guy who looked fresh out of the academy, stepped out of their cruiser. Karen launched into her performance, tears welling up on cue. "He stole my package. It's worth hundreds of dollars. I'm not safe in my own home." Lynn nodded vigorously, holding up her phone with grainy Ring footage that showed me doing my job, nothing more. I explained my side, voice steady, showing them the delivery photo and my app's GPS log. Daniels listened, his face unreadable, while the younger cop took notes. "All right," Daniels finally said. "Let's check the property. Maybe it's still here." Karen's eyes narrowed, but she didn't object. We walked the perimeter of her house, her complaints trailing us like exhaust fumes. That's when I noticed something odd, a glint in the bushes near the side gate. I pointed it out, and Daniels crouched down, pulling out a torn cardboard box. The same one I delivered. The label was ripped, and the contents, some kind of fancy skincare kit, were scattered in the dirt. Karen's face went from red to ghostly white. "That's not mine," she stammered, but Lynn's nervous glance told a different story. Daniels raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, this matches the tracking number. Care to explain why it's hidden back here?" Karen sputtered, claiming it must have been planted, But her story was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Lynn, less composed, started babbling about neighborhood kids messing with their stuff. I stayed quiet, letting the officers do their thing. Daniels wasn't buying it. He radioed for backup, and soon another cruiser pulled up. The HOA's indignation turned to panic as Daniels started asking about other, missing packages they'd reported. Turns out, this wasn't their first rodeo. Over the past year, they'd filed claims for dozens of lost deliveries, collecting insurance payouts while reselling the goods online. The skincare kit in the bushes? Part of a pattern. A quick check of their garage authorized by a warrant later that evening revealed stacks of unopened packages, some dating back months. The neighbors started gathering, drawn by the flashing lights. Mrs. Patel, the sweet older lady from across the street, whispered to me that she'd seen Karen rifling through other people's deliveries before. She thought she was untouchable, Mrs. Patel said, shaking her head. Always yelling at us for nothing. Another neighbor, a guy named Tom, nodded. They screamed at my kid for riding his bike too close to their driveway. Karma's real. As the officers cuffed Karen and Lynn, the sisters' bravado melted into pathetic whining. This is a mistake, Karen wailed, her muumuu catching on the cruiser's door. Lynn was crying, mascara streaking her face, begging for leniency. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the police loaded them into the car. Daniels turned to me, his expression softening. Sorry you got caught up in this, kid. You did the right thing. I nodded, still processing the whirlwind. Driving away, I felt a strange mix of relief and pity. The HOAS had built their little empire on lies and intimidation, but it crumbled in a single afternoon. They targeted me because they thought I was an easy mark, someone they could bully without consequence. But the truth has a way of catching up, and theirs was uglier than I'd imagined. Back at the depot, my co-workers slapped my back, joking about my Karen takedown. But it didn't feel like a victory. People like the HOAS thrive on tearing others down, and I'd just been collateral damage. Still, I couldn't help but smile at the thought of their faces when that box was found. Justice doesn't always come, but when it does, it hits hard. I kept delivering packages, same as always. The neighborhood felt quieter without the HOA's reign of terror. Mrs. Patel even baked me cookies as a thank you for cleaning up the street. But the real reward was knowing I'd stood my ground and walked away with my head high. The HOAS? They were facing charges for fraud and theft, their McMansion now just a hollow monument to their greed. Sometimes, the universe delivers its own kind of package, one marked, return to sender. The end.